I found my journal from those 6 months when I needed space from you. Every page reveals the complexity of healing while still caring. While you thought I'd moved on, I was processing feelings too big for words, learning to love myself while missing what we had. These diary entries show what really happens when someone needs distance but hasn't stopped caring. Dear Diary, I broke my own boundary today. Looked at his social media while feeling particularly lonely at 2:47 a.m. He posted from that rooftop bar we always talked about visiting, the one that represents all our unfinished plans. Seeing him living his life triggers this strange mix of sadness and relief. Sadness because I'm not part of these moments anymore. Relief because he's okay. He's moving forward. He's not stuck in the same emotional limbo I've been living in. I realize I'm checking not to spy, but to process. To understand that people can be okay without me, which somehow both hurts and heals. My body holds tension for hours after, not from surveillance, but from the emotional weight of accepting that he exists happily in a world where I'm not present. This isn't about watching him. It's about learning to be okay with not being essential to someone's happiness. But processing complex emotions takes many forms. I've been asking our mutual friends how everyone's doing, not for intelligence gathering, but because I genuinely care about the people in our shared community. Coffee with Jessica. She mentions he's been social, going out with friends from his gym. Instead of feeling threatened, I feel grateful. He's not isolating himself the way I worried he might. He's building connections, staying active. Dinner with Mike? He says my ex has been focused on work, less responsive to group texts. This paints a picture of someone prioritizing his own growth, which I respect, even if it stings a little. I'm learning that caring about someone's well-being doesn't require being the source of that well-being. The updates from friends help me practice loving him from a distance, wanting good things for him, even when those good things don't include me. Each conversation teaches me something about letting go while still caring. If you're watching this because you're trying to process feelings about someone you need space from, subscribe now. These entries show how healing isn't linear or simple. Sometimes, healing requires holding multiple truths simultaneously. I saw him today at Whole Foods. Not planned. I was genuinely grocery shopping and he was in produce, carefully selecting avocados the way he always did for our Sunday brunches. For a moment, I considered leaving to avoid the complexity of an interaction we're not ready for. Instead, I stayed, finished my shopping, and felt peaceful. Seeing him in his ordinary life reminded me that he's a whole person with routines and preferences that exist independently of our relationship. This felt healing rather than painful. I didn't approach him because I'm still in my own process, but I also didn't flee because seeing him wasn't a threat to my healing. Later, browsing at the bookstore in the village, my Thursday evening ritual for self-care, I noticed him in the philosophy section. Again, not planned. Just two people who happen to frequent the same neighborhood spots. These encounters teach me that I can exist in the same world as someone I once loved without it derailing my emotional progress. Each coincidental sighting becomes practice in holding space for complex feelings without acting on them. I'm learning that healing doesn't require complete avoidance. It requires emotional boundaries. Processing extends beyond chance encounters. I've been thinking about how to honor what we had while building what I need now. Visited that art gallery he mentioned wanting to see together, not as a message to him, but as a completion of something for myself. The experience felt like reclaiming interests I'd put aside during our relationship. Returned to Gemma on Bowery, our old favorite restaurant, for dinner alone. Ordered the cacio e pepe he always got, not to feel close to him, but to practice being comfortable with memories that hold both love and loss. Created a playlist called Spring Renewal that includes songs we shared alongside new discoveries. Music has always been how I process emotions, and this playlist represents integration rather than erasure. I'm learning that healing doesn't require pretending the relationship never happened. It requires transforming beautiful memories into sources of gratitude rather than sources of pain. Each decision feels like practice in honoring my past while building my future. My goal isn't to message him through my choices. It's to message myself that I can hold complexity with grace. Sometimes healing requires revisiting the past with new perspective. I walked through Prospect Park today, following the route we took on our third date, not to torture myself, but to practice being in spaces that hold our history without being overwhelmed by it. Sat on the bench near the boathouse where he first held my hand with intention. Instead of longing, I felt gratitude for that moment of connection, even knowing it led to an ending. Cooked the lemon pasta he taught me to make, using the recipe he wrote in his handwriting. As I followed his instructions, I felt appreciation for the skills he shared with me, rather than sadness about his absence. Listen to our relationship playlist, not to relive what we had, but to honor how those songs shaped me, how they became part of my emotional vocabulary. I'm learning that revisiting meaningful places and rituals can be acts of integration rather than acts of clinging. Each memory becomes an opportunity to practice gratitude for what was while accepting what is. These experiences teach me that love doesn't have to end in erasure. It can transform into appreciation. Reading these entries now, I understand what I was really doing during those 6 months of space. I wasn't ignoring him out of anger or strategy. I was creating distance to heal while still honoring what we shared. The processing, the boundary setting, the memory integration, none of it was about getting him back. It was about learning to love myself as fully as I once loved him. Here's what I learned about taking space while still caring. I thought space meant forgetting him completely. Instead, it meant learning to remember him with gratitude rather than longing, to wish him well from a distance that protects my own growth. Some people need space, not because they don't care, but because they care too much to heal properly while staying connected. Taking space isn't about punishment or manipulation. It's about creating room for both people to grow into who they're becoming. If someone is currently taking space from you, maybe they're not rejecting you. Maybe they're practicing loving you in a way that doesn't compromise their own healing. And maybe the most loving thing you can do is respect that space while focusing on your own growth, trusting that healthy people make healthier choices about connection. But how do you honor someone's need for space without feeling abandoned? How do you focus on your own healing when you miss what you had? How do you trust that space can lead to something better for both people? These questions require patience and faith that healing happens differently for everyone. Sometimes the most generous thing we can do is let someone heal at their own pace, while we do the same. If you want to understand more about why people need space to process complex emotions, watch my video, She Said One Thing But Meant Another. That video explores how difficult feelings often get expressed indirectly when direct communication feels too vulnerable, and why creating safety for honest expression matters more than decoding hidden meanings.